Hi everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here. Welcome to my channel. If you've been looking for an extra large craft mat, you're going to want to watch this video because I've got a great plan. Now this is the Sapid Extra Large Silicone Craft Mat, and I've used this for about 8 months. Here's the brand name, comes in different colors, and I'm going to share 6 reasons that I love it. Reason number 1 is its size. When they say extra large, I mean it's extra large. This one measures 28 inches by 20 inches. And they have larger sizes and slightly smaller, so you can get one that fits your thing. Here's the Amazon.com. They've actually got one that's 36 by 24. Now, one of the reasons you want a large mat is because you want to have the entire surface covered to protect your surface. I can use this with my 9 by 12, my 11 by 14 canvas panel, and I have side issues where I can use it as a palette. I can even put a 10 by 20 canvas on here and still have room on the outside for paints and other things. I can open up a composition book like this, and again, I have room around for other things, that other materials and supplies. Now, if I do a gel printing session, here I like using my 2-plate technique. I can have both 8 by 10 gel plates on here with enough room around it still. And I love that. It's going to keep your surface clean. I could even put my 12 by 14 massive gel plate on here and have room to brayer off, have extra papers, lots of room. And this isn't even the biggest one. So reason 2 that I love this silicone craft mat is about cleanup. How does it clean up? So I decided I'm going to put it through its paces. I'm going to put some acrylic paint on here. This is just white. I'm going to add some darker color, and we're just going to let this dry. Throughout this video, you're going to see this kind of in action, me cleaning this craft mat. Like I said, I've used this craft mat for 6-8 months, and I absolutely love it. Actually, it's the second one because the first one I got was black, didn't work very well for filming videos. So I've got acrylic paint first, then I'm putting on gesso. Now, gesso tends to stick. That's what it does best. So it's often very difficult to get off the surface. So the next medium that I'm going to put is my fluid matte medium, another product that is really hard to get off those mats. Now I've tried the Tim Holtz, the Ranger craft mats and those things. I end up gouging them. I end up wrinkling them. They just don't work for me. So I have been on a long time search. That's also gel medium at the top, probably going to be the same. This is modeling paste. I'm putting down here all the products, or most of the products that I typically use when I create. I want to see how easy is it to clean it up. Archival ink, when I'm stamping, I'm going to get some of that ink on there. It's permanent. So I'm just going to stamp it. And then I'm going to, once I get all this down here, I'm going to let it dry. That is the Pit Pen. India ink, I believe, is in there. And then I'm going to put my Inktense blocks. Again, those are permanent. So we've got inks and paints and pastes and mediums of different kinds, all the things that we use. And I just want you to see how this cleans up. So I've given it some time to dry. Now I am going to, first line of defense, I'm going to use my Murphy's Oil Soap mix, which is Murphy's Oil Soap, couple glugs, dish soap, and water. That's it. And I've long time use. Now, I spray it on and I let it sit for a while, but here I really didn't let it sit very much, and it lifts it right off that silicone mat. I just, with my finger, it came off, and now I'm using a key card to scrape it off and get rid of it, kind of get it all in one place. Now you could use, this is from TCW, kind of a palette marker. You could use a plastic palette knife. But I would not use any palette knife that is metal because you don't want to gouge the silicone. So be careful. Plastic works good. The key card works great. And you're going to see that in action later on. But that acrylic paint lifted off, no problem, very quick. Now, this is gesso, which is usually typically harder. Now, of course, if you take it off, spray it, and clean it sooner than later, it's going to come off easier. But again, I did let that sit longer than the acrylic paint, but it lifted right off and I can just wipe it off. So incredibly easy. And no matter even the dark color of acrylic paint, it didn't stain the mat. Like I've said, I've been using this mat for 6 to 8 months. It looks as clean as what it has been. I'm going to skip over the mediums because they're not quite dry. And I'm going to spray that Indian ink, the Pitt pen, with the Murphy's oil soap. And I'm a little surprised that it took off as much, but it kind of stained a little bit. So you can use rubbing alcohol, and that just lifts it right off. Now, again, if you want to prevent staining, cleaning it sooner than later, not letting it sit for days and weeks and months on end, you're probably going to have a better chance. Inktense block, again, easily came off with the Murphy's oil soap. And if you want to clean it up a little bit more, get any staining, the rubbing alcohol works wonders. That's why I have it on hand. So the archival ink. Now, I was very, very surprised here that the Murphy's oil soap got most of it off. I didn't have to rub very long. Now, this had only stayed a couple of hours. If I had stamped it and had left it longer, I may have had a harder time. Now, the modeling paste, it dries on there. And quite honestly, I could take a palette knife and just lift it off. It comes off the silicone so easy. Now, I'd like to say that every silicone mat is going to react the same way as the sapid one. I don't know that to be true. Chemistry tells me silicone doesn't stick to anything. You should get the same effects. However, I have had silicone mats that are a lot harder to clean and get this stuff off of. So I'm going to link this particular mat. There are other options out there. If you try the other options, hopefully they work equally as well as this does. So this is the gel medium at the top and the fluid matte medium down below. And this is a little bit tougher. It tends to really stick because it's an adhesive, but it does peel off. So again, I'm just using the key card, kind of lifting it up, and then I'm just peeling it off. It just easy peasy comes off. So the second reason, outside from it being able to get this super large size, which is so beneficial to the crafting process, is how easy it is to clean. And I'm showing you how. I love this tool. It's a great big surface, and you're going to see this in action later. Now, it's really important that you do not cut on the mat. Sometimes we use an X-Acto knife. You always want to get a cutting board, self-healing mat, because the silicone, if you cut it, you cut it. It's done. So here, I've just gessoed these index cards. I'm going to do a technique later using them. Now, the heat tool, I've put the heat on there, and it doesn't warp it, bubble the craft mat at all as well. Wouldn't be overly excessive with it. So here I've got gesso on there. This is sat for overnight, so longer time. I'm spraying it with my Murphy's oil soap and using this. And look at how easy it comes off. So you could take a baby wipe at this time, a paper towel, what have you, and lift off the remains, and your mat is perfectly clean. Love, love, love that. So the third reason I love this mat is to do with glue guns. So if you do a lot of gluing, the glue, once it's dry, comes right off the silicone mat. But did you know you could use a glue gun and make a mark making tool with it? And that's what I'm doing here. I apologize. It's really hard because the glue is clear and you can't really see what I'm doing. But you can make any design out of glue and turn it into a mark making tool. You can make a flower, hexagons, diamond shapes, anything goes. If you can imagine it, you can do it. And because of the large size of the mat, you can just go and create, start in the upper left-hand corner and go across and make just tons of them with whatever glue gun. This is a low temperature one. I probably would use my higher temperature one just for the speed of it. So I'm just making a variety of these. You let them dry, and when they dry and cool, easy peasy, just grab maybe a pal with a plastic palette knife, lift them up, and you have a stamp. You might have to get some of those wispy stuff there and cut off any excess stuff, but now you have a mark making tool. You could mount this onto cardboard if you wish, or just use it as it is. And I'm going to show you how this works, but this isn't really a video about making these. So I'm just grabbing the tag, and then one of these glue gun, um, you could use the India ink on there to stamp with. I'm just using acrylic paint, and I found that if it was a little bit wet, like you spray it with water after this, it works better. And I'm using the side that was against the silicone mat. It's a little bit flatter and gives a different kind of mark. Press down, and there you have marks. So again, maybe I'll do a video where I actually create a variety of these and show you some ideas, but what a great use of the silicone mats. But even if you're not going to make some mark makers with your glue gun, if you do any glue gunning, it's going to come up off that mat really easy peasy, no problem cleaning it whatsoever. The fourth reason I love this mat is for smooshing. Now here I'm using my Distress Oxides or Distress inks. Now again, we have a large space, so you can put multiple colors there and do a stash builder. I'm spraying it with water, and then I'm just using those gessoed cards, index cards, and just dipping them in there. Now I don't use my Distress inks a lot, so even smooshing with them isn't something I do a lot of, but you can see how it's working. And if I perfected this, spent a little more time figuring out how to make this work, I would probably get better results. But what I like is I can put down 9, 12 different colors and go and have a smooshing party. So that combines that first reason, the size of the mat, with how it works. And here's the cleanup. I just spray it with Murphy's and wipe it down. How easy is that? What I like here too is because I'm working just on this surface. Now, when I smoosh, I prefer using acrylic paints to my Distress inks, just the way I roll. So I'm just watering it down, and I can have some that are thicker, some that are thinner because I have a large working area. Adding water, mixing it up before I start smooshing. I like smooshing with acrylic paints because you have bolder colors and they are permanent, so I don't have to worry about it. Now here I'm just sticking to 2 colors, but I could put, again, multiple colors, filling my craft mat with them, and just go to town smooshing. This is a technique that works really well with the silicone mat. Some of here you get smooshing and dendritic patterns, all great textural elements to add to your page. And here's the cleanup. Murphy's oil soap, wipe it down. I also like this mat because with videoing for the YouTube channel, there's no shine, there's no glare, there's minimal glare. And there is the ones created with the acrylic paints, and much more muted with the stress oxides. The fifth reason I love this mat has to do with its silicone. It's kind of squishy. And if you know anything about stamping, you've been told or you've heard that you get better stamp results if you stamp on a cushy surface. So here, my craft mat is adding that cushy thing, so I don't have to think about it. I can just use the archival ink and get a good impression on directly on my page, or here I'm just doing it on copy paper. And, FYI, I am one of the world's worst stampers. So if anything I can do to make it easier, but here I don't have to pull out something extra. My craft mat is the silicone squishiness. I don't have to pull out a mouse pad or something else. So I'm more likely to stamp in the middle of a project because I already have what I need to make a good stamped image. So the sixth reason has to do with another technique that I do pretty much on every page, and that is shading or edging the page. I use the technique called floating acrylic, where I put a little bit of paint. This is fluid acrylic. You can use straight up paint. I've got a pile of water there, so I can have it both on hand, and then you go back and forth on the mat. Now, if you did black, you can't see that. And that was the problem with the black one that I ordered first. It also didn't video well, which is why I ended up with this teal one. So if you are videoing or you want to do this technique, I recommend using a gray mat or a white mat or a lighter colored mat like this teal one to get those results. If you want to mix paints on it, you may want to go with whiter. And then I'm just splattering here. I'm just finishing it up and spraying and cleaning it off, wiping it off. And here I'm just shading around the butterfly. Again, I'm not really showing how to make great art here. I'm just showing you some of the techniques that work really well with this silicone craft mat, the super size, large size. So measure your space if you're interested in this and find the perfect one that fits your space, your table, your area. And they come in multiple sizes. You might just have to look a little bit. And there I had to clean off the archival ink. Until next time, go get creative. Link in the description box if you want to go check this out.